All right, guys, here we are doing a ride-in review on the 2024 Harley Davidson Lowrider ST. Let's do work. We're not talking about just any motorcycle here. We're talking about a Harley Davidson. If there's any brand of motorcycle that is more than a motorcycle, it's a Harley. Yeah, you're getting a premium American-made torquey road rocket with its own personality, but you're also joining a culture, a brotherhood and sisterhood that's legendary. A heritage of badassery mixed with freedom, mixed with rebelliousness, with an undeniably powerful aura of masculinity. It's a viscerality that manifests in the sights, sounds, smell, and feel, and hell, even taste. You're riding a Harley Davidson. Welcome to the club.
Hi Brian, welcome to Harley Davidson at Danbury. This is a family-owned dealership. We've been in business for 30 years. It's me and my brother Carl. We're two owner-operators. We're here on site. We're motorcycle enthusiasts. We sell the Harley Davidson and CF Moto brands. On the CF Moto side, we carry the off-road vehicles, the quads, the side-by-sides, and the CF Moto motorcycles. And we're running a promotion right now. There are factory rebates on a lot of the off-road products from CF Moto, anywhere from $400 to $1,000 right now, and 0.99 for 36-month financing. So I thank you for coming by, and we want to support you. We're looking forward to seeing your impressions of this Lowrider ST on your YouTube channel, and we hope to do other rides with you, Brian.
All right, thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate it. Everybody come on down.
Thank you.
All right.
Anytime. My pleasure.
A Ducatisti, having been spoiled by race-bred Ducatis much of my adult life. In fact, I rode here today my 1158cc Diavolo V4, which I thought was big and strong and well, boys and girls, when I straddled this nearly 2000cc, 720-pound Harley Davidson Lowrider ST, I realized I was unprepared. Well, in my mind, I had reserved Harleys for only the coolest of guys with their epic tattoos, sweltering swagger, and audacious attitudes. In short, Harleys were only for the baddest of badasses, but when I sat on this Harley, twisted the throttle, and felt and heard that exhaust, I became one of those badasses. Minus the epic tattoos and swagger, but let me tell you, this bike offsets my lack of tattoos, escalating me to the upper echelons of motorcycle manliness just by riding it. At least that's how it made me feel. And that's the most important thing, isn't it? And that's what this bike imparted to me like very few other bikes could. I could feel the culture emanating out of the bike and into my bloodstream as I rode this bike, and you know what? It felt good. And that's something we call soul, and the Lowrider ST oozes with it. But you know what? Soul can't throw you back in your seat or bring you to a smooth halt before you hit that 12-point buck that just ran out in front of you. It can't corner for you, nor conduce posterior endurance for long rides. So how does the Lowrider ST perform? Let's discuss. First off, let's talk about the look. The Lowrider ST is big, bold, and undeniably a piece of Americana. From its frame-mounted fairing to the deep solo seat, this bike exudes Harley Davidson heritage. Check out the sleek lines and the muscular stance. This bike is one of the most striking bikes I've ever seen, and even for me, an Italian bike enthusiast who heretofore never liked cruisers nor baggers, the ST immediately caught my eye. The frame-mounted fairing is sleek, unique, but not just for show. It provides excellent wind protection, making those long rides much more comfortable. The fairing design is inspired by the iconic FXRT Sport Glide from the 1980s, blending classic style with modern functionality. The LED lighting system, including the Daymaker signature LED headlamp, ensures you have great visibility at night while adding a modern touch to the bike's classic look. The blacked out finishes on the engine and exhaust give it a dark and foreboding signature that looks like you have the power to unleash hell at the twist of the throttle at will. And you know what? You do. Under the hood, you can indeed unleash that hell with the Milwaukee 8117 engine, pumping out a solid 103 horsepower at 4750 RPM, and more importantly, and impressively, a whopping 125 pound-feet of torque at 3500 RPM. This V-twin engine is all about delivering that classic Harley rumble while providing plenty of power for the open road. I found two things when I cranked the throttle up. 1. The engine roars. Not obnoxiously loud, not even really loud, but with a throaty and classic Milwaukee 8 resonance. This classic Harley sound is one of the top attractions to this bike for me, and I think for many people, but we'll hear and discuss the exhaust later in this video. The second thing I noticed when I cranked the throttle is that 125 pound-feet of torque knocking at the door, which I happily opened and said, "Let's party." The percussion on your ears and the freight trainness of this bike is true bliss. Now I said freight train, but surprisingly, this train can corner. After some apprehension at first, having been used to the aggressive finesse of Italian bikes, I was flying around corners on this bike like no 720-pound bike has business doing. It has a 31-degree lean angle, and once I became more comfortable, I found out this bike is even nimble in parking lots doing U-turns with ease. Harley engineers really nailed this one out of the park. It's big, it's beautiful, and surprisingly nimble. The suspension setup is impressive too. Up front, we've got a 43mm inverted cartridge fork with 5 inches of travel, and at the rear, a coil-over monoshock with 4.4 inches of travel. This setup ensures a smooth and stable ride, and let me tell you, one of the first things I notice is the big Harley soaks up bumps on the road, almost literally ignoring them altogether. This bike is unfazed by bumps, which is where my aha moment began. Now I'm starting to see why the Harleys are the top-selling bikes in America. They blend extreme comfort, performance, style, culture, undebatable coolness, and power into one bike. And speaking of the power, it certainly sends the speedometer needle clockwise in a heartbeat, but how about bringing it back down to 0? Let's talk about the brakes. ABS is standard and braking is handled by 4-piston fixed front and 2-piston floating rear, providing adequate stopping power. Yeah, you can spend money upgrading them to Brembo, but I don't feel the need to. I was able to bring the bike to a smooth, abrupt stop during my brake test, and the ABS system ensures you can brake confidently even in less than ideal conditions, and that's that. Now let's talk about the riding experience. The Lowrider ST is heavy, but at 720 pounds wet, it's on the low side of the average bagger. It's surprisingly nimble for a bike this size. The mid-mount foot controls and upright riding position make it comfortable for long rides, and the bike feels planted and stable even at higher speeds. The stiffer fork and added weight give it a super planted feel, making it sporty around corners despite it being a bigger boy. On the highway, the Lowrider ST also shines. The fairing cuts through the wind, reducing fatigue on long rides. I did feel a slight breeze on my helmet, but if you want to go totally windless, you can get an aftermarket upsized windshield. The engine delivers smooth, consistent power, making it easy to cruise at high speeds and easy to pass other vehicles without hesitation. Comfort is another place the Lowrider ST really shines. Deep and soft solo seat holds you firmly in place during aggressive acceleration and cornering, and the softness of the seat made my pleasantly perched posterior comfortable the whole ride. However, at 6'1" with long legs, I did feel awkward putting my feet up on the pegs. It was quite a chore actually. I was okay when they were up there, but getting them there felt unnatural. I also found it hard to shift into the gears. I literally had to lift my foot off the peg to both upshift and downshift. However, the lever can be adjusted, and I did hear that there is a seat that sits taller riders back further so they're more comfortable. So that would be one of my first mods for sure. My arms reached the handlebars with ease, but I felt it odd the turning signals were on each end of the bars. The left side of the handlebar had the left turn signal on it, and the right side of the handlebar had the right button. It took a few minutes to get used to it, but ultimately I found it to be intuitive, and the buttons are big and easy to press. The saddlebags are streamlined, so they're not huge, but they offer nearly 2 cubic feet of storage, not luggage-like, but perfect for those long weekend rides or going to work. Traction control is standard here, which is necessary with all this torque. The instrumentation is minimal, focusing on the essentials via this tiny 2.14-inch screen, which is an LCD display where you can see the speedometer, gear, odometer, fuel level, clock, trip, range, and tachometer, and you can select what you want to see in the settings. I do prefer the Lowrider S instrument gauge, and if I were to buy this bike, I'd have that S gauge installed before I even pick up the bike. The exhaust system is tuned to give you that deep, throaty Harley sound that riders love. I would likely do slip-ons, or more likely a full exhaust to amplify that great sound, but you don't really need to. Let's give it a listen. Could this bike use a set of slip-ons or full exhaust to get feisty? Yeah, it could, but the stock exhaust sounds more than good enough to hold you over while you wait for your exhaust of choice to arrive. In my humble opinion, it sounds really good, but just needs a little volume adjustment to be perfect. Or if you like the nice subtle robustness of the stock exhaust without waking the neighbors, you do you. So what's the verdict? The 2024 Harley Davidson Lowrider ST is a unique blend of classic Harley swagger and modern performance. It's big, bold, and heavy, but also smooth, comfortable, and surprisingly nimble. Whether going to the post office or going on a longer trip, the Harley Davidson Lowrider ST is a great bike. Thanks for joining me on this ride. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more motorcycle reviews and adventures. Ride safe, my friends, and always remember the motto, always be kinder than necessary, and I will see you in the next one. Did anyone make it this far into the video? If you did, please drop the comment below, and you will get a mention in my next video. I love you guys.